The story begins with a badass assassin chasing his target's car, followed by 2 more cars for his security. He overtakes them with speed, and a bag slips from his back, rolling in front of one of the cars. Prickly hurdles emerge, causing it to flip over. Now, he engages in a fight with his target's bodyguards in the second car and takes them down by shooting at its tires, puncturing it. Finally, he reaches his target. His bodyguard shoots him and fails, but able to get away from assassin. Now the assassin jumped from the bridge. Next we see he is right in front of them. The bodyguard says to run over him, but the driver shoots him, revealing he is an assassin too. They take target to the warehouse. He says, "My men will not leave you," enraging the assassin, and he shots him. They then leave in the car. After completing their mission, they return to their huge apartment. In their daily lives, Kazuki handles all the household chores, while Rei spends his time playing video games. During their work as assassins, Kazuki is the mastermind who plans everything, while Rei is the executor who carries out the tasks of killing. Later, Kazuki went to meet Kyutaro at his cafe, and he praised them for flawlessly carrying out the mission. Now they get their next mission and the money for their previous assassination work. Kazuki took half of the money and tells Kyutaro to send half to a person he always sends it to. On the way back home, Kazuki is stopped by 2 beautiful girls who lure him inside a bar. Unfortunately, he loses all of his money in gambling and ends up shirtless. He has to return home like that despite feeling cold. The next morning, Kazuki bakes a cake and Rei gets their weapons ready as part of their new mission. Their next target is a human trafficker who is going to appear at a Christmas party in a hotel. They plan to enter the party by pretending to deliver a cake. Meanwhile, a 4-year-old girl named Miri comes out of a train and runs throughout the city asking everyone if they have seen her dad. She even asks a Christmas tree, "Have you seen my papa?" Her whole day passes like this and night falls. Miri arrives outside a hotel and enters, hoping to find her dad there. At the same time, Kazuki also enters the hotel disguised as Santa to get their job done. He manages to trick the guards into letting him into the elevator to deliver a cake for the party he's made. Suddenly, Miri sees the cake and runs towards it, entering the elevator along with Kazuki, ruining their plan. He panics to see her, but cannot bring himself to deny her request to taste the cake. Miri eagerly eats the cake and asks him, "Have you seen my dad?" And as he says no, the elevator doors open, and Miri runs out, causing suspicion. Rei is forced to shoot the bodyguards from where he is hiding under the cake trolley, as Kazuki runs after Miri to stop her from causing more trouble. Rei runs down the hallway to take out the other guards. He then hides behind the hallway section and skillfully snipes the more guards. He breaks the door and jumps inside. Kazuki and Miri also enter the party, but she slips from his grip. The guests run out terrified, while Rei heads straight for the head of the human trafficking ring. Kazuki loses Miri in the crowd, only for her to show up next to their target, asking him if he is her father, but he takes her as hostage instead. Rei suggests shooting the target through Miri, but Kazuki says no, fearing for her life. He runs up to save her, using a tray as a shield from henchmen firing. He tears off his beard and declares himself as her father. He tells Miri to jump into his arms. Miri jumps towards Kazuki, while Rei shoots the target, killing him, and leaves from there by shooting through the window. Once the mission is over, Kazuki and Rei end up bringing Miri with themselves. On reaching home, Kazuki feels happy seeing Miri looking so cute while sleeping. In the next morning, we see Miri banging on Kazuki's door, desperately needing to use the bathroom. As he comes out, she cries out, "Papa, I gotta pee." Kazuki rushes downstairs while holding her and tosses her into the washroom. But the toilet seat is too high, so she asks him to lift her up. As he helps her, she asks him to lift her again for hand washing at the sink. Afterwards, Kazuki is breaking the eggs to cook breakfast, and Miri says, "I also wanna do that." But he says no because the counter is too high for her to reach. She makes an angry face and walks away. While he was busy cooking, he sees Miri trying to bring a chair to reach the counter, but she ends up falling with it. Their noise reaches Rei's room, and he comes out to check the commotion. Kazuki quickly hands Miri over to Rei, hoping he can distract her. He tells Miri to go play with Rei, and her eyes shine brightly with excitement. Rei allows Miri to look at his video game collection, which she promptly messes up. When breakfast is ready, Kazuki gives it to Miri. She was about to eat, but he tells her to say thank you for the food before eating, and he also stops Rei. After praying, Miri starts eating the breakfast, looking very happy, because the food is delicious. Now, they talk about the photos they found in Miri's bag, which show that the target they killed at the Christmas party was her real dad. Miri's mom left a note too. She's angry at Miri's dad for leaving her, and wants him to take care of Miri now. But since her dad is dead, they want to send Miri back to her mom. However, when Kazuki tries to ask her, Miri doesn't know where she lives, because she's just a kid. He asks, "Where did you come from?" She replies, "From far away." He then asks, "Who brought you here?" She says, "No one, I came here by walking a lot and then taking a train." The only helpful information she gives is that her mother sings at her job. To find Miri's mom, Kazuki says we have to seek the help of Kyutaro, and tells Rei to stay at home with Miri, but he refuses. Curious about what Kazuki is doing on his laptop, Miri climbs onto the table and ends up spilling the coffee and falling on it. Kazuki opens the TV for Miri after changing her clothes and tells her, "We will come back soon, just enjoy until then." After leaving Miri in the apartment, they head to Kyutaro's cafe. They convince Kyutaro to research their target's girlfriends, hoping to locate Miri's mother without revealing Miri's existence to Kyutaro, who is already angry at how badly they carried out the Christmas party mission. But they still receive their next mission. As they leave Kyutaro's cafe, a mysterious man named Ajino walks in, who requests to be informed about upcoming jobs. Rei and Kazuki return home and find a messy house, with all the utensils scattered on the floor and the sofa flipped over. Rei grabs his weapon, ready to defend, as they think there might be an intruder. While checking the house, they discover that Miri made the mess while playing hide and seek alone. She comes out upon hearing them, as she is still in a playful mood, and then runs away from there. While having dinner, Kazuki reads about their next target, a drug kingpin, who lives in a well-guarded mansion, which will make getting to him difficult. He asks Rei if he has any ideas for getting in. Rei replies, "Charge in the front and kill them all." This startles Kazuki. Just then Miri approaches him and rudely comments on Kazuki's cooking and runs off to play hide and seek. Kazuki starts looking for her, and when he finds her, she runs and hides somewhere else. He finds her again, but she runs away once more. Rei says, "You're good at hide and seek," which gives him an idea. They then discuss the plan to break into their new target's house, and Miri gets mad as Kazuki stops playing with her. After gathering supplies for their mission, Rei and Kazuki prepare to leave, but have no idea what to do with Miri. Kazuki tries to bribe her with snacks, and she's delighted to have so many treats. Just when they think they've bribed her and walks away, Miri runs behind them. He shuts the door, but she cries loudly, attracting the attention of their neighbors. So, they decide to bring her along. The plan is for Rei to wait in the backyard, while Kazuki pretends to be a security system repairman to lure out the target. However, just as Kazuki is about to enter, Miri honks the horn and says she has to pee, but he urges her to hold it while they proceed with the mission. He enters the mansion. He goes in the security room, shocks the guard, and then shut off the CCTV. Afterward, he starts setting up explosives in the target's mansion. Meanwhile, Miri urgently rings the doorbell and asks a henchman if she can use the bathroom. He allows her in, but she spots Kazuki and draws attention to him, saying, "Papa, I found you. Are we playing hide and seek?" "Okay, I'm in." Then she runs away. The henchman chases Kazuki, who in turn chases Miri when she runs away to start a game of hide and seek. Kazuki starts pressing buttons and all the explosives start detonating, so they can't catch him. While Kazuki is still running to catch Miri, they end up in the target's room, surrounded by security. When all seems lost, the henchmen are taken down one by one, and we see Rei shooting from the backyard. Kazuki protects Miri, while Rei overwhelms security with his insane accuracy, taking them down one by one. Now, Kazuki runs, holding Miri, and takes Rei with him too, who is still shooting while Miri is in his other hand. They manage to escape on a speedboat, but Kazuki scolds both of them for ruining the mission. Kyutaro calls them and fires them from the mission, but informs them he has located a woman likely to be their target's girlfriend. They are relieved, thinking it might be Miri's mother, so they will soon be rid of Miri and can get back to work. Meanwhile, Ajino succeeds in killing the kingpin and his guards. As the boss weeps, pleading for mercy, Ajino asks him to utter his final words. The boss says he'd pay anything to him, but Ajino shoots him. In the next scene, we see an injured dog, and his child cries out, "Dad, stop." Man says, "Don't call me Dad, I am your boss." Just then Rei awakens when he hears Miri calling him to breakfast. Then she jumps on his stomach, snapping him back to reality, and he realizes it was just a bad dream. During breakfast, Miri happily enjoys her favorite meal of cornflakes with milk. Rei, finding it to his liking, begins eating it fastly. As Kazuki converses with Rei, Miri comes and climbs onto his lap. He shows her some bananas and asks if she wants them instead, so she will get off his lap and he can finish eating. Seeing Kazuki interact happily with Miri, Rei questions whether he really wants to return her. But Kazuki says they can't take care of a kid because of the type of lives they live. He then goes to meet Kyutaro, who gives him the address of Miri's mother, and hints at knowing about Miri without directly mentioning her. Later, at the park, Miri digs up dirt and forms soil balls from it. Kazuki and Rei share memories of their childhood while talking about Miri. Kazuki reveals that he never met his parents, which led him down this path. While Rei seems to have bad relationship with his parents, Miri approaches them and offers a soil ball to Kazuki, saying, "These are dumplings." He takes one ball and she says, "Eat it, Papa." He tells her, "Don't call me Papa in front of people." As she looks around, there are no people nearby. Now, she is about to force him to eat it when a vendor comes outside the playground, and she runs toward it, as he was selling some sweet potatoes. She then calls them to buy some potatoes for her. They play a game of rock, paper, scissors. Rei loses the game over who would buy it for Miri. Watching Rei buying sweet potatoes for Miri, Kazuki doubts if he's truly cut out for fatherhood. Miri comes back and offers him some sweet potato, saying, "Let's share it, Papa," which brings tears to Kazuki's eyes. Later, while Kazuki was away getting some drinks, Miri runs toward the swing to play. While she was playing, a child protection officer approached her as she was alone. He asked her who she was with. She points toward Rei, and the officer asked if he is her father, but Rei denies it. Just then, Kazuki returns and tells the officer that he is her father. His earlier instructions to Miri not to call him Papa in public backfire, as she refuses to do so. Kazuki takes her in his arms and convinces the officer that he is indeed her father, and walks away from there. He tells Miri that it's okay to call either him or Rei Papa in certain situations, and tells Rei to say he's her dad as well. At night, Kazuki tries to scare Miri, but she just laughs in his face. When the lights are off, Miri peeks into Rei's room but finds out he is not there. She opens the bathroom and finds Rei in his bathtub. He says that he sleeps there in case of an ambush. She wants to sleep with him to feel safe and jumps inside with him. She starts playing with him and tries to make him smile, but he says he wasn't raised that way until she finally falls asleep in the tub. The next day, Kazuki and Rei take Miri back to her mother. Again, Rei asks if he's sure to return Miri, and Kazuki says this is the right thing to do. As they arrive, Kazuki goes ahead to check her mother's workplace, leaving Rei and Miri in the car. Inside the bar, he encounters her mother practicing her singing. Just then, Kazuki gets attacked by her boyfriend, who is the bar manager, and he also slaps her. However, Kazuki knocks the man to the ground. This angers the man, and he starts attacking him with a broken bottle. Kazuki gets a scar during the fight, but he punches the man hard in the face, causing him to run away. Miri's mother is upset by the incident but still offers to treat Kazuki's cut on his face. Meanwhile, Miri forces Rei to take her to a nearby park, forcing him to play with her. She's having a great time. Then, she forces him to play on the seesaw with her, and Rei quietly accepts his fate. Next, Miri waves to Rei from the top of the slide. People nearby wonder what kind of father he is for not waving back, so he eventually waves her back. Afterwards, the two sits on a nearby bench. He asks her why she referred to Kazuki as Papa, and not her real father. She replies that a Papa is the person who saves you when you're in trouble. This makes Rei think about his own father. His father kicks him and says, "You are so weak." Disappointed in Rei, he says, "Kill or be killed." Rei tries to talk and calls him Dad, but he responds with, "Don't call me Dad, I am your boss." As he comes back to reality, he realizes that he's lost sight of Miri. Back at the bar, Kazuki tells Miri's mother that he found Miri and is here to return her. She says, "I don't want her back, Miri made my life miserable." Kazuki questions her, "How can you say that? You're her mother, and she always tells me how much you love her and make the most delicious hamburger steaks in the world." She laughs and says, "Those cheap steaks, I bought 3 packs for just 200 yen. I don't know why she likes such a cheap thing when her father is so rich." Kazuki gets frustrated and asks, "Why don't you want to take her responsibility?" She tells him that Miri's dad kicked her out and had affairs with other women too. "When he never wanted to take my responsibility, why would I take hers?" Kazuki says, "You are just being as irresponsible as her father, she is your child." This angers Miri's mom, and she says, "You never raised a child all alone. You'll never understand my pain. My career got ruined as most of the time went into Miri's care," and she angrily throws all the bottles away. So Kazuki leaves from there, disgusted that a parent could hate their own child. Meanwhile, Rei searches for Miri in the park and eventually finds her talking to 2 police officers, who believe she's lost. They try to take Miri to the police station, but she doesn't want to go with them. Rei considers letting them take her, but when Miri calls out, "Save me, Papa," he decides to be a better than his own father. He remembers her words, "Papa is the one who saves us." He approaches the police and tells them to let her go. They ask, "Are you her guardian?" And he says, "No, I am her Papa." Sitting down, he extends his hand and says, "Come, Miri." Seeing this, Miri happily runs towards him, calling him Rei Papa. Holding her, he says, "Let's go home, Miri." On their way back to the car, they meet up with Kazuki. Miri runs towards him, excited to tell him about spending the day playing with Papa Rei. Rei wonders what's next, and Kazuki says they should grab dinner on the way home, confirming it will be a meal for all 3 of them. Later, Kazuki gives Miri some hamburger steaks, saying her mom sent them. Miri enjoys them and says they are tastier than Kazuki Papa's hamburgers. Rei also liked them. Kazuki is happy that he's able to make same streaks that Miri's mom used to give her. That night, Miri insists on them all sleeping together despite Rei and Kazuki's reluctance. They find themselves cramped in one small bed, with Miri sleeping contentedly and Kazuki uncomfortably squeezed beside her. He asks Rei to move a bit, but Rei is already asleep. Next morning, Miri wants to help Kazuki pour detergent, but she spills a little. She tries again, and just when Kazuki thinks she's got it right, she ends up spilling a lot. Later, while Rei is on the treadmill, Miri climbs on it, accidentally making it go faster. She laughs as Rei has to run faster to keep up. In the kitchen, Miri tries to help but falls and makes a mess. Kazuki is surprised when he sees Miri using the vacuum cleaner on clothes. Now she says sorry for filling the bathroom with bubbles. Even when Rei is watering the plants, Miri somehow makes a mess. Exhausted, Kazuki and Rei take her to the park. While there, they spot a daycare van, which gives them an idea to enroll Miri in daycare so that they can work without her interference. Kazuki starts googling all the nearby daycares and then begins calling them, but unfortunately, some of them are not accepting new students as they're full, while others told them they should go to the government office first to register Miri, making Kazuki furious, while Miri is already set because she's eager to attend daycare. Kazuki and Rei take Miri to the government office to get assistance enrolling her in daycare school. When they got there, the line was still serving numbers 103 and 116. But the number they got was 142. After waiting for so long, finally, their number is called. At the counter, Kazuki looks tired as he talks to the staff about all the paperwork needed to officially register Miri, and by completing the paperwork, she can start school soon. Back at home, Kazuki is concerned about submitting government documents due to his background as an assassin. Rei gives him the idea that they can enroll Miri by giving a bribe. Just then, Miri comes running towards Kazuki as he agrees with Rei's idea and is about to throw away all the papers. She jumps and bumps her head into him, knocking him down. She starts crying and says, "Papa, you lied to me, you said I was going to daycare." So, he decides to obtain forged documents as a solution. Rei reassures Miri, "Don't worry, Kazuki's getting you into daycare." After finishing everything, he decides to submit it the next day with Miri and Rei. The paperwork is sealed, showing that Miri is now officially registered and can join their chosen daycare centers. They took Miri to their first choice daycare, and the interviewer asked if you both are her father. Miri replied, "They both are my fathers. Kazuki Papa is good at cooking and did forgeries to get me into daycare, and Rei Papa is good at firing." Kazuki was shocked and said, "She's talking about a toy gun." But Miri said, "No, it was a real one," and started revealing about their work. So, Kazuki and Rei took over and left from there. They told Miri to let them handle the talking in the next interviews. During the next interview, the instructors ask Miri about her fathers. She praises them, saying they don't do any bad business at all. Kazuki quickly covers their tracks, saying they are something like city cleaners. And as the interview goes well, the instructors tell them that she is accepted in school. Miri happily gives a high five to both as she gets admission. At home, Kazuki and Rei celebrated Miri's daycare approval with an energy drink. They then read the daycare's handbook to find a list of items they needed to purchase for Miri. The next day, they took Miri to the department store to buy daycare supplies. Miri's eyes lit up as she looked at all the expensive and attractive things in the store. Kazuki told Rei that it's important to make a good impression on ordinary people. He believes that buying name-brand items will help establish dominance and impress others. They buy a lot of things for Miri. Miri asks Kazuki when she will start going to daycare, and he says, "From tomorrow." Miri thanks him as she is so excited about it. While reviewing the handbook, Rei notes that it says they are required to write Miri's name on all of the goods they purchase for her daycare. This infuriates Kazuki, and he says, "I won't do that, writing names on all the items, this is gibberish." But when Rei says, "Don't you want her to establish dominance?" This enrages Kazuki even more, and he leaves to buy a sewing kit. Later, Miri wants to write her name too, like Rei did. When Kazuki returns, he sees that she has ruined her expensive t-shirt by writing on it. He shivers with worry, asking, "Do you realize how much that shirt costs?" Now, Kazuki injured his finger again while sewing Miri's name. Just then, he notices Rei has fallen asleep and gets frustrated, wondering how he'll finish the work alone. On Miri's first day, they arrive overdressed and catch the attention of other parents as they enter the school. The caretaker, Miss Anna, greets them and compliments Miri, saying, "You look so cute in your outfit." Mothers exchange messages on their phones, calling Rei and Kazuki two hot dads in their group chat. Anna takes them inside the daycare and gives them a tour to explore the school and see all the equipment and facilities Miri will be using from that day on. Miss Anna tells them to note everyday routine. Kazuki says, I wrote them. Anna reads the diary. I am exhausted from staying up whole night, putting her name on everything. I just need rest. She realizes he has written events from his day. He gets embarrassed when she says, you have to write Miri's routine. He then gives her Miri's lunchbox, but she says, we provide our own lunch here. Rei comments, we stayed up all night for this. Kazuki says, you slept. Now, Kazuki and Rei leave Miri at daycare. Kazuki feels so happy as if they've completed a mission. During playtime, Miri asks a boy, can I play with you? He says no and runs away. Miri struggles to connect with the other children, who refuse to play with her. Meanwhile, Kazuki and Rei are at Kutaro's cafe. Kazuki asks him to give them some work, and he says, I'll think about it. When they pick her up later, Miri doesn't look happy after attending daycare. As she continues to attend daycare, she seems sadder every time Kazuki comes to pick her up. One evening, Kazuki arrives early and notices Miri sitting alone. Miss Anna approaches him and tells that Miri's clothes make her stand out too much. She suggests a different store where they can find ordinary clothing. They take Miri on a shopping trip to buy more normal clothing. As they enter the store, they are surprised and excited by how cheap the items are. Miri asks to buy some toys, and Kazuki says, you can buy as much as you want, things are at a very cheap rate. Back at home, they are satisfied as they did a lot of shopping. Miri excitedly asks Kazuki, can I wear this outfit tomorrow? And Kazuki says, sure, but you'd better bring it back covered in mud. The next morning, Kazuki drops her off at school in a more normal outfit. Miss Anna says, this outfit really suits you, Miri, and signals her approval to Kazuki with a thumbs up. He sticks around for a while to help her make friends, playing with a ball with Miri, which attracts other children who want to join and play with her. Now they all start playing, and Miri looks so happy. In the evening, when Kazuki comes to pick her up, Miri tells him that she had fun today. Later, Miri is surprised by Rei and Kazuki with her own bedroom. She loves it so much. She happily hugs and thanks both of them. In the next scene, while Rei and Miri are playing a game, Kazuki appears worried as he looks at their expenses. They have spent a lot of money on buying things for Miri. He says, we're going broke, and Rei asks, why are we going broke? Kazuki cries, because we are not working. But Rei and Miri keep playing without worry. Kazuki then says, no earning means no games for Rei, and Rei makes a gloomy face. He continues, no pudding for Miri, and she looks shocked. Kazuki says, it's time for the last resort. And he goes to Kutaro to beg for some work. Not trusting them with assassinations, Kutaro gives them several smaller missions. Kazuki simply accepts it and says they will carry it out anyhow. Back at home, as they were about to start their work, the phone starts ringing with the daycare's number. Kazuki receives the call and is informed that the daycare will be temporarily closed for a week due to a flu outbreak. He's shocked because Miri will be at home and interfere with their work. When they pick up Miri, she runs and jumps at Kazuki, excited to go home. On the way, Rei asks him, what will we do about our job? And Kazuki says, one of us will have to stay at home to look after Miri. Just then, Miri excitedly asks them, what is your job? As she is assigned homework to learn about her parents' job. Kazuki tries to dodge her question while Rei attempts to leave. Miri blocks his path and curiously asks, are you going to your job? He turns and head back home without answering. And Miri pleads, take me to your job, I want to know. While Miri is sleeping at night, Kazuki looks exhausted after trying to work at night and taking care of Miri during the day for 3 straight days. Rei is also tired. He comes and rests his head on the table. Kazuki grabs his hairs to wake him up, saying, don't sleep, we haven't completed the work yet. The next morning, while Miri is enjoying her favorite cartoon show, Kazuki asks Rei to look after Miri as he's going out. As Kazuki is leaving, Miri says, I also want to come with you. He replies, no, I am going for my job. Play with Rei until I return. Miri makes an angry face. However, Rei falls asleep and doesn't wake up when Miri tries to get his attention. So, she decides to sneak out and secretly follow Kazuki to discover more about his job. On the way, she sees a beautiful woman and tries to walk like her. As she continues following Kazuki, Miri signals to stay quiet when another woman notices her. She then peeks at Kazuki from behind the board, but as she spots a dog, she gets distracted and stops to pet it. This causes her to lose sight of Kazuki. She then starts running to find him. When Rei wakes up, he comes out and doesn't find Miri. He checks her room, but she's missing. Meanwhile, Kazuki is at Kutaro's cafe when he receives a call from Rei. He tells him that Miri is not at home, she's gone. Kazuki panickingly cries out, are you kidding? While Kutaro listens silently. Now we see Miri, who reaches a point where many paths diverge, and people passing by from that area are looking at her. Kazuki hurries back home, and asks Rei how long Miri has been missing. But Rei doesn't know anything. He then begins searching every corner of his home but doesn't find her. As they confirm that Miri is missing, they start searching for her, while Rei checks in her daycare. Kazuki goes to the riverside area. They even ask people if someone had seen her. Kazuki then arrives at the park, where he sees a girl and runs after her, but she is not Miri. In the meantime, Miri reaches in front of Kyutaro's cafe where she bumps into Ajino, who grabs her up, but lets her go after she says sorry. Just then Kyutaro comes out and brings her inside. Kazuki starts to fear the worst things happening to Miri, not until they arrive at Kyutaro's cafe and discover her there. Miri calls them Papa excitedly after seeing the two of them, which perplexes Kyutaro. So Kazuki says, "Your parents were looking for you everywhere," and Miri is confused by this. He thanks Kyutaro for Miri, but is in cold sweat when Kyutaro replies in a serious tone, "I just gave shelter to a lost child." When Kyutaro leaves to serve a customer, Kazuki tells Miri not to call him Papa in front of Kyutaro. Miri says, "Got it." Kyutaro returns and asks, "Got what?" Kazuki covers up, saying, "Nothing, just about the babysitting job. Now it is we are babysitting this kid, but she got missing, freaking us out." Kyutaro asks him, "What about the job I gave you to complete?" Kazuki tells him, "We're trying to complete it as soon as possible." Kyutaro says, "I want the work to be completed on time." And Kazuki eventually admits, "We're struggling with the workload. We have to watch Miri too and haven't had time to sleep." Rei says, 3 days without sleep." Kyutaro offers to watch Miri so they can focus on the job. Meanwhile, Miri finishes her drink and thanks him for it. Back at home, Miri is packing her bag to go to Kyutaro's cafe. Rei asks Kazuki, what if she reveals everything in front of Kyutaro? Kazuki scaredly says, "We will face fatal consequences." Just then, Miri comes and says, "Let's go, Papa." Kazuki warns her not to talk about them to Kyutaro. Miri smiles and says, "Okay, I won't." They then drop her off at Kyutaro's cafe. Kazuki silences her when she is about to call him Papa, and then they head off to a job. Kyutaro makes a drink for Miri and serves it to her. She feels so delighted when she takes a sip. On the way to their work, Kazuki says Kyutaro is more cold-blooded than he looks. Rei adds, "He's quite a lady killer too." Kazuki imagines Miri saying, "I'm gonna marry Kyutaro," and kissing him. He speeds up the truck, saying let's finish this job and return to Miri soon. At the cafe, Miri asks Kyutaro, "Do you know what job Kazuki and Rei do?" He says, "Yes, I know." Miri excitedly says, "I want to know, they never tell me anything." Kyutaro lies and says Kazuki is a stand-up comedian. She asks what that means, and he explains, someone who makes others laugh. He then says Rei is an oil baron, but Miri doesn't understand it. While on the mission, Kazuki is crying out loudly that Miri will spill everything. Rei, who is in call with him, tells him to keep quiet as he is focusing on his target. Back at the cafe, Miri is drawing a picture with crayons. She tells Kyutaro, "I am drawing Kazuki and Rei." While drawing a picture of their jobs, she slips up, calling Kazuki and Rei Papa before quickly trying to cover it up. Kyutaro realizes that Miri is being raised by them. To confirm, he asks, "Don't you want to go home? Your family might be worried." Miri says, "It's okay as long as I am with Kazuki and Rei." As she was about to complete their drawing, he asks, "Do you like them?" and she says, "I love them so much," and Kyutaro smiles. Kazuki and Rei return to the cafe to pick up Miri after finishing their job. Kyutaro tells them she just fell asleep. Rei takes her in his arms, but in her sleep, she continues to call them Papa, and Kazuki quickly tries to cover, saying they plan to return Miri to her family eventually. However, Kyutaro reveals that he knows everything but luckily doesn't mind as long as it doesn't affect their work. The next day, when Miri presents her report at daycare, it shocks the mothers to learn that her dads are secret oil billionaires. She then runs towards them and happily hugs them. And Kazuki says thanks for picture while Rei paises her for it. After attending Miri's presentation, Rei and Kazuki return to the cafe, where we learn Kyutaro knew everything the entire time. He said he had intended to take action, but after spending some time with her, he understands why they took her in. Of course, he warns that there can be consequences, especially if they betray the organization. He asks if they are prepared for whatever consequences a job like theirs may bring and tells them not to regret it. In the next scene, Kazuki watches the news on TV. An actor was apologizing for his son's wrongdoings. His son was arrested for assault. Reporters say that parents are too lenient these days, leading to such incidents. This makes Kazuki think about his own parenting. He worries they might not be strict enough with Miri. He imagines a teenage Miri arrested for theft and blames him that this happened because I was raised by scum like you. He asks Rei, what if Miri goes down the wrong path? Rei replies, you talk as if you're perfect. Kazuki admits, I'm not. Parental abandonment shaped me like this. He decides he is going to be more attentive so Miri doesn't grow up to be a bad person. Later, when he arrives to pick Miri up, Miss Anna tells him that she heard Miri got into a fight with a classmate, Taiga. One of the children told it was Miri who hit first, but she cannot confirm since she did not see the fight. She hopes maybe Kazuki can talk to Miri and figure out everything. Kazuki says, leave it to me, I'll do it. And Miri wears her bag to leave. At home, while Miri watches Rei playing a game, Kazuki approaches her and asks, did you get into a fight today? She says no, so he holds her face and asks again in a serious tone, did you hit someone at daycare? Miri responds, I didn't hit him, Taiga was being a bad boy. He continues asking, which only upsets Miri further as she insists she did nothing wrong. She eventually becomes so upset that she runs away from there, telling Kazuki that she hates him. Kazuki feels devastated after hearing this. The next morning, Kazuki prepares lunch for Miri's field trip, wanting to make the best meal so she can show off her dad's cooking. Rei says, you're trying to get back on her good side. Kazuki feels heartache as yesterday what happened is still eating him. Just then, Miri comes. Kazuki tries to talk to her but she turns her face away. She says, I don't like you, Papa. This hurts Kazuki even more. He tries to convince her, but she insists, I am going to daycare with Rei Papa today. While Rei goes with Miri to drop her off, Kazuki is sad because Miri now dislikes him. He imagines apologizing to a teenage Miri in jail for not understanding her. She yells, quit acting like my papa. You always got on my nerves. Just then, he sees the lunchbox and rushes outside to give it to her, but Rei is already back after dropping her off. Kazuki says, I forgot to put her lunch. I'm going to give it to her. Rei says their bus has already left for the trip. Kazuki insists, let's go there and give her the lunchbox. Meanwhile, Miri and her classmates arrive at the zoo. Miss Anna instructs them to stay close to her, and they all follow her. First, they see a beaver, then a large giraffe enjoying its meal. 2 rhinoceroses are seen fighting with each other. Next, they try to stand on one leg like flamingos. Taiga runs with a hamster on his head, while the others pamper cute hamsters and rabbits. And then he gets scolded by Miss Anna. Later, as Miri and her friends are watching monkeys, Taiga startles them from behind. Miri urges him to keep quiet so as not to frighten the monkeys away. As they move further, Taiga runs in the opposite direction. Miri calls him, saying it's not safe to go alone. He ignores her, so they run after him to stop him. Kazuki and Rei also reaches the zoo to give her lunch to Miri. As they followed Taiga, they realized they were lost and separated from their group. Miri said, it's okay, stick with me and we'll find them. She held Taiga's hand and they ran to find the others. Meanwhile, Rei is standing below the tree communicating with Kazuki, who is on the tree looking for Miri. Kazuki spotted Miri holding hands with a boy. He imagined teenage Miri with that boy, saying they love each other. This enraged him. As he observed further, he saw 2 more girls and cried out, that brat has 2 more girls. Miri is not your plaything. Rei pretends like he doesn't know Kazuki as people stared at the commotion. Realizing they are lost, Kazuki and Rei follow closely as Miri tries to lead her friends back to the group without directly interfering. Miri looks back as she senses someone following, but no one is there, so she keeps walking. Taiga stops and sits at a bench as he is so exhausted. Miri tries to pull his hand, saying, we have to find Miss Anna soon. Hearing his name, Kazuki realizes Taiga is the same boy with whom Miri got into a fight, and thinks they will fight again. As he is too exhausted, Miri says, okay, let's take a break. When he is drinking water, he spills it. Miri goes and cleans it from her handkerchief. Kazuki notices that Miri takes care of Taiga despite their earlier fight. Just then, Miri notices a man taking food from a cart without paying. She stops him, saying stealing is not good. He tries to walk away, ignoring her, but she blocks his path. This annoys the man, and he tries to harm her but gets hit by a rock that Rei throws to stop him from touching her. Just then, the shopkeeper also arrives. The thief leaves the food there and walks away, promising to get her back. Now they again start looking for their group. Taiga runs to see Mario Kart, and Miri also joins him, saying, I love Mario Kart too. They start talking to each other, and the girls watching them comment, they seem like friends now. Taiga asks, how do you know about Mario Kart? Miri replies, my papa Rei is good at playing the Mario Kart game. Taiga says, your papa is awesome. Miri agrees, saying, yes, I love Rei Papa. Kazuki says, why is Rei the only one getting credit? While Rei smiles. Now, Miri and Taiga enjoy the ride while the others are scared. As they continue their search, Miri and her friends decide to take a break for lunch. Kazuki is still figuring out how to give Miri her lunch when she realizes she doesn't have one. So, Taiga shares his own, and says sorry for being mean before. While watching them enjoy, Kazuki says, I guess I have to take my lunch back home. Suddenly, a thief from earlier grabs Miri, demanding them hand over their lunches. Taiga grabs the thief's arm to protect Miri, but he gets caught in the process. Miri asks him to leave Taiga. Before the thief can act, Kazuki and Rei appear in mascot disguises as Alpaca and Rabbit. The thief's attempts to fight them prove futile as Rabbit stops him and kicks him, while Alpaca delivers a headshot and a kick, causing the thief to fall to the ground. Miri hugs Rabbit and thanks him for saving them, and others also thank them. They tell the children to take care and leave. Afterwards, they remove their masks, saying, "Hope they didn't recognize us." Eventually, Ms. Anna and the children find each other. She is surprised to see Miri and Tega getting along. Miri returns back and hugs Kazuki, saying she had a great day. As she goes to change, Rei gives him Miri's diary in which Anna had written that Miri accidentally hit Tega the day before, and it was not a fight. Kazuki feels guilty for arguing with Miri, despite her telling him it was not her fault. When Miri comes, he hugs her and apologizes for being upset with her. The next day, a woman named Karin visits Kyutaro's cafe, who asks Kyutaro where Kazuki is. In the evening, Kazuki comes to pick up Miri from daycare during a rainy day. Miri is singing happily as she walks towards him, and then starts dancing in the rain. Just then, her umbrella slipped from her hand and flew away on the road. Kazuki grabs her before she can chase after it. Suddenly, a truck hits it, triggering flashback of another umbrella being destroyed in an accident. Miri runs to pick up her broken umbrella and feels sad, saying, "This one was my favorite." Kazuki says, "I'll get you a new umbrella," and then they walk toward home. Upon arriving, Miri runs over to Rei, who's playing a video game. She eagerly starts watching him play Mario Kart. Kazuki asks Rei for a towel, but he gets ignored. As he walks closer to Rei, Miri's raincoat water wets his socks. Now, they pray before eating their meal. As soon as Rei finishes, he leaves. That's when Kazuki notices the table, messed up by Rei and Miri, and gets disappointed. Afterwards, Miri asks Kazuki about her big towel for daycare. He doesn't remember and asks Rei, who is busy exercising and doesn't listen to him, even when Kazuki calls out loudly. Just then he spots the towel on the sofa. Later, while searching in his drawer, Kazuki finds a picture of himself with his beloved and becomes upset. Now, Miri is sleeping in her room. While sewing Miri's name on her daycare handkerchief, Kazuki tells Rei he needs more help with Miri since he does most of the housework. He says, "I am helping," and Kazuki asks, "How?" So, he says, "We play games together and stuff." Kazuki asks for more assistance with Miri, and Rei says he's doing his best. Later, on his way home from the store, Kazuki spots Karin and hides in an alley, wondering why she's there. Just then, two women appears, and he tries to quiet them as they start talking loudly. One of them grabs his hand and says, "I felt so lonely without you, come with us." Kazuki is worried about Karin seeing him. He says, "I am getting married soon, so I have to go," and quickly leaves. Upon arriving home, he starts doing household chores and thinks, is this happiness? So much work every day. While he is cooking, Miri is pulling at him because she wants to play. He's irritated and about to scold her, but stopped by her innocent question, "Why won't you play with me?" Just then, the doorbell rings and he calls out to Rei to open it. Rei isn't listening, so Kazuki has to go, but Miri clings to his leg. At dinner, Miri asks Rei to eat her tomatoes, who refuses, saying, "I don't like them." Both start complaining as they don't like the meal. Kazuki snatches their plates and says they don't need to eat, which only makes them whine more. They want French toast for supper. This enrages Kazuki and he asks them, "Do you guys think I am your maid?" and storms off furiously and bangs his door. Confused, Miri asks Rei what happened to him, but Rei doesn't know. The next morning, Miri comes to wake up Rei and tells him she is hungry. He asks where Kazuki is, but she doesn't know. Kazuki leaves a note saying he'll be out. The whole house is messy and Miri is also asking for food. He realizes now he has to take responsibility. He checks the kitchen for something to eat and gives cornflakes to Miri. They eat together and she says, "It's so good, Kazuki Papa won't let us eat this." She then asks whether she's going to daycare today. Rei realizes it's already late and quickly gets her ready and packs her bag for daycare. As they step out, it is raining heavily, so he rides his bike to take her to daycare and Miri enjoys the ride. Kazuki goes to hide out at Kyutaro's cafe, hoping to get Rei and Miri to appreciate him more. He complains about everything he does for them, although Kyutaro insists he had fun. As they were conversing, Kyutaro tells him that his sister-in-law, Karin, has once again returned the money he sent. Kyutaro says Kazuki should talk to her in person, but he chooses to leave instead. While Miri and Rei arrives at daycare but no one is there. He checks his phone and realizes that it's Sunday. Meanwhile, Kazuki is at the casino, trying his luck at gambling. He wins, and women hug him, saying, "Kazuki is on fire today." He feels so happy as he enjoys with so many women surrounding him. At home, Rei is exhausted after taking care of Miri, and she is playing video games. Later, she sneezes while drawing and tells Rei she's hungry. He orders pizza. Miri hugs him, saying now we don't have to eat veggies. After a day of heavy drinking, Kazuki sees a man with his daughter and remembers Miri but ignores them and walks away, bumping into a man. He gets thrown by the men in next moment, telling him to watch out for his mouth. Meanwhile, Rei watches the time as Kazuki is still not home. Miri comes and asks, "Kazuki Papa is still not home." And Rei says, I think he abandoned us. Back to Kazuki. As he gets up, he sees a woman in front of him, thinking it is his beloved wife. But it's actually her sister, Karin, who looks somewhat like her. She asks him if he is alright and tells him that Kyutaro has told her everything. Kazuki tries to walk away, but she loudly says she cannot accept his money. So, he says he will stop sending it. She doesn't understand why he sends it, saying, it's not like it's your fault my sister died, right? Kazuki responds that it is his fault, as he killed her. Then we see a flashback where Kazuki chases a man down a dark alley on a job. But the man manages to escape by stealing a car. As the car speeds away, someone shoots at its tire, disbalancing it, and it collides with a gas truck, triggering a massive explosion. Unfortunately, Kazuki's wife, Yuzuko, happens to be crossing the street and gets caught in the blast before he can warn her, and her umbrella flies away. The next day, Rei wakes up as he feels the heat on him. It's Miri. When he touches her, he realizes she has a fever and Kazuki still hasn't come home. He checks her temperature and it's high in fever. He calls Kazuki to inform him, but he won't pick up. He tries to search for medicine, but finds none for children. So, he thinks about taking her to the hospital instead. When he realizes he doesn't know where the hospital is, he takes her to Kyutaro for help. Meanwhile, Kazuki visits his wife Yuzuko's grave and says, don't worry, I haven't forgotten you. After spending some time there, he walks away. Then he goes to a place and recalls his past memories when he was injured and fell down, unable to move further. That was the first time he met his wife, who asked him if he was alright. Just then, his sister-in-law Karin appears and says, this is the place where you met my sister for the first time, right? Kazuki seems down while she talks about her sister. He recalls when Yuzuko was pregnant with his baby and regrets her demise. Karin reminds him that Yuzuko wanted him to be happy and encourages him to start over, leaving behind all the sadness. She then asks about the child he took in, expressing her belief that he can make her happy. Kazuki says he will try his best. Just then, the sun shines through the clouds as the rain stops. Kazuki looks better and Karin smiles at him. He returns home to find the house messy. He peeks into Miri's room and discovers Miri and Rei sleeping together. And Miri's fever is also gone. The next day, they serve French toast to him. Miri says, eat it, watching his reaction. As he eats it, he starts shouting, I am gonna teach you suckers what good toast is, and starts smiling. Then he gives Miri her new umbrella and she happily dances because she loves it. Finally, he takes out Yuzuko's photo and places near his desk. Next day in the early morning, Rei is getting ready to go somewhere. As he is leaving, Miri comes with sleepy eyes and asks, are you going out? He tells I am going home, and she says, but this is your home. He says you are right and walks away. Kazuki comes out and asks, do we have a job today? Rei says no. He wonders why Rei is in such a serious mood. Miri says bye and about to reveal something, but Kazuki stops her. He felt relieved when she turns and says, sheesh. He says not to stay out late as Rei leaves. Kazuki asks where is he going. Miri tells he said he's going home, then says, let's start our mission while he is out. Miri excitedly says, let's start. Rei arrives at the huge gate, surrounded by cameras. He enters inside and walks towards his father's mansion. As he opens the door, he recalls that it's been 3 years since he came here. Meanwhile, while shopping, Miri asks, does Rei Papa have 2 houses? Kazuki says, yes, the other one is where he used to live with his father. She asks, Rei Papa's father means my grandpa. Kazuki says, yes, kind of. She says, I want to meet him. Kazuki says no, he is a diabolical guy. Miri asks, what's diabolical? And he tells it's like scary. She asks, is it like when Miss Anna teaches us songs? It's diabolical. Miri recalls her singing freaking out everyone. Kazuki says, not like that. Rei enters his father's room and greets him. His father says, so, living with a peasant like Kazuki has taught you proper etiquette. Seems like he's not entirely useless. But Kazuki's skill seems poor. Is that the reason for numerous mistakes on your recent jobs? Rei remains silent. His father explains that being an assassin is in his blood, and it's time for him to come back home to run his family business by becoming the head of the organization. His father further says, I let you live outside because you vowed to come back someday, but it seems you've formed pointless ties which will affect our family business. We need to do something about Kazuki. Rei says, please don't involve Kazuki in this matter, and asks for time to think about it. And his father agrees, but gives him a job to complete before the end of the day. As he looks at the files, he says, I know this man, and his father says, finish him. This man betrayed our organization. You'd better not betray my expectations. Rei says, yes, boss. Meanwhile, Kazuki and Miri are preparing a surprise birthday party for Rei. Miri asks why Rei's father called him, and he explains, because his father is a bit angry with Rei. He trained Rei very hard to carry on his family legacy, but he rebelled against him and left home. That was the first time I met Rei. He was like a robot. And Miri excitedly asks, robot, did he shoot beams? She then makes a face when Kazuki says, not that kind of robot. Miri asks, do you think Ray Papa can make up with Grandpa? Kazuki replies, I am not sure. Just then, he gets a call from Ray, who tells that he'll be late. He tells Ray, we've kind of got stuff planned here, while Miri irritates him because she also wants to talk with Ray. Kazuki stops her from reaching the top. Ray can hear Miri's voice in the background. Miri pulls his hand down and says, come soon, we've got pizza too. Kazuki silences her and disconnects the phone. Ray then comes out of the door, and Ajino says, so, you're the heir of the great Suwa family. His father looks through the window as he leaves in the car with Ajino. Meanwhile, Miri rushes to check if the cake is ready. Ajino drives him to the target's location and shares information on the target. Ray says he knows the target and has learned several skills from him, but is now tasked with killing him after hearing he betrayed the family as he wants to leave the organization for a woman he loves. Ajino then asks him, why do you kill? For the Suwa family, or for fun? Instead of answering, Ray questions him back, what about you? Ajino explains that he believes in a philosophy based on which he kills people. Ray responds, distasteful, when they reach the location. Before Ray leaves the car, Ajino asks him to share the target's last words just before he dies. He likes to collect them in his notebook. Ray walks up to the target at a pier, and once the man realizes why Ray is there, he also takes out his weapon to fight. The two engage in a fight. As they were fighting, the target says, having known you since you were younger, I was surprised when you chose to leave the family. But seeing Ray's loyalty to the Suwa family, now that his father wants him back, the target acknowledges that Ray is truly a Suwa at heart. He runs upstairs, with Ray following him. They both shoot at each other. Ray then reaches closer and they begin fighting face to face. Just then, the target kicks Ray so hard that he falls down. Meanwhile, Miri is waiting for Ray to come home as they have completed all the preparations for the celebration. She asks Kazuki, why does Ray Papa always look sad? Kazuki replies, he just has that kind of face. Miri sadly says, sometimes when mom tries to appear happy, but is also sad, Ray's papa looks like that all the time. He looked even sadder today. That's why we prepared his favorite food and planned to surprise him. Do you think he'll smile today? Kazuki responds, yes, he will. Back to Ray. Target shoots the Ray and he was trying to dodge his attacks. He then starts chasing the target when he saw him running upstairs to escape. Ray reaches the terrace. He starts looking around to find him, just as the target jumps from above, and they start fighting again. The target says, you are just acting like a puppet for that organization, not hesitating to turn your blade on anyone. You are truly an assassin. Ray responds, that's the rule of the organization. If you leave, you have to pay with your life. The target replies, you are a puppet. You won't understand. I found something worth protecting, so I changed how I live. He then grabs Ray and tries to harm him, but Ray pushes him away, and his hand got injured. The target pushes the Ray to the ground attempting to kill him, but Ray points his weapon at him. Ray then puts his weapon away and says, I have something worth protecting too. The target doesn't believe him and attacks again. Ray stops him and gives headshot, and then shoots his leg. Ray pushes him back, and the target stumbles, breaking through a railing and falling to his death. Ray tries to save him but is unable to. He runs down to check but finds that Ajino is already there, and the target is dead. Ajino takes out his diary and asks Ray about the target's final words, but Ray decides not to tell him, which were, I'm on my way. Ajino places the body in the car's back and says, let's head back. But, instead of riding back with him, Ray decides to stay behind. He starts thinking about the things the target said during their fight. Just then, his phone starts ringing. It's Kazuki asking when he'll be back. Ray says he needs time to cool off. He then starts thinking about the times when he was ordered to assassinate people, and wonders, will I be able to change myself? While he's lost in thought, Kazuki shows up to pick him up. He refuses to go, so Kazuki says there's no time, get in. While driving home, Ray asks him how he knew about his location, and he says, did you forget who set up your phone? Ray says you are overprotective, to which Kazuki replies that Miri would have been upset if Ray hadn't come home today, so he tracked his location. He then tells him that he told about their first meeting to Miri today, recalling how messy Ray was when Kyutaro first introduced them, living like a dead zombie. Ray replies, you were also a useless load at work early on. This surprises Kazuki as Ray had never mentioned it before. Ray adds, you didn't matter much to me at first, but suddenly you started cleaning. Kazuki says, I couldn't stand watching you live like that. He cleaned Ray's entire house, gave him a bath, and groomed him, even cooked healthy food for him, which led to Ray enjoying living with him. He then asks, do you think we can change? And Kazuki says, dunno. They arrive home, and Ray witnesses the aftermath of the surprise birthday party that Kazuki and Miri had planned for him. While Miri is asleep after waiting for him so long, Ray remembers that today is his birthday. Kazuki lights up the candles on a cake, and Miri, who is half asleep, wakes up and sings, "Happy birthday, Ray Papa." She falls asleep again. Ray smiles, and Kazuki says to the sleeping Miri, "You did it, Miri." Later, Ajino brings a new target to Kyutaro, given directly by the boss, who is also Rei's father. Kyutaro opens the envelope and discovers that the new targets are Kazuki and Miri. The next day, Kazuki cheers on Miri as she practices for the upcoming field day race. Miri runs over to Kazuki. Her eyes light up, and she jumps with happiness when Kazuki shows her a timer, saying, "Great job. You set a new record. You'll win the race for sure." Rei hands her a towel. Kazuki shouts, "It's our job to advise and cheer her." Rei starts advising, using complex terminology, which goes over her head. After wiping her face, Miri says, "I want gold medal," and runs to practice more. She takes her position and starts running when Kazuki says, "Start." Rei watches her, and Kazuki says, "Come on, cheer her on with me, Rei." Afterward, they visit Kyutaro's cafe for drinks. They tell Kyutaro about Miri's field day, which will be on Sunday. Miri says, "I ran a lot today to practice." Rei glares at Kazuki with a gloomy face when Kazuki pats Miri and says, "You've got grit just like me." Miri says, "We will take a lot of pictures to show Kayu-chan later." But Kyutaro seems down because Kazuki and Miri are the new targets. At night, a man rushes to Miri's nursery and enters by jumping through a wall. He takes a proper look at the daycare and opens his bag to take out something. In the next scene, we see that today is the day for Miri's field day, and Kazuki is preparing a special lunch for that. Rei arrives. It is revealed that he was the man at the nursery. Kazuki is in a cold sweat, wondering what the heck Rei did, when Rei says, "The mission went flawlessly." Now he is shocked when Rei asks, "Can I help?" He rushes to check on Rei as he never offered to help before. Rei then starts helping him, taking the rice and placing it in a bowl to make rice balls. Kazuki cries with joy seeing him help. Rei asks, "Will Miri like them?" And Kazuki replies, "She'll be over the moon. Rei Papa made them." Rei asks, "What do we do at the field day?" Kazuki replies, "I haven't been to one either. I guess we watch the kids run around and cheer them on." Just then Miri wakes up, amazed to see the delicious food. She rushes towards the table, delighted to find that everything is her favorite. Kazuki says, "Rei helped to make rice balls today." Arriving at daycare, Kazuki says, "Go, we'll cheer from the sidelines." The daycare is fully prepared for the field day. Miri says bye, runs to her friends and says, "Let's do our best." Kazuki then asks Rei, "Where's the spot you reserved for us?" Everyone seems shocked to see that place. It's secured, as if the area is a danger zone, covered with barbed wires. Kazuki says, "Everyone might be thinking some crazy person set that up." They grabbed another place. They notice that all the parents are already prepared with their cameras. Kazuki takes out his equipment, and they are also ready with their cameras to capture the best pictures of Miri. Just then, moms appear and start talking to Kazuki, while Rei wonders when Kazuki got so close to other moms. Rei asks, and Kazuki says, "We drop off our kids daily, so we've gotten to know each other," and tells him, we are popular among the moms. One woman says, "I like Rei Papa so much, he's got a cool Hitman look, so mysterious." Kazuki shockingly says, "What a funny thing to say, right, Rei?" Another woman says, "But Rei Papa is an oil baron, and Kazuki is a comedian, so cool," while Rei silently listens to their conversation. Now, children are ready for the opening ceremony. All the parents clap when Miss Anna announces that the field day will begin with a parade. Kazuki is excited to take pictures of Miri. The children start parading on the ground, and Kazuki rushes to take pictures from the perfect spot where everyone is taking photos. He shouts, "Miri, look here," while she is parading with her group. Miri smiles at the camera. She looks really cute. Moms comment, "It seems like Kazuki Papa is so attached to Miri," as he cries with excitement while taking pictures of Miri, while Rei wonders if this is how they're supposed to act. Next, while Miri is sitting with her group, the principal announces, "Now, we'll start field day with daycare representative, Miri, delivering a greeting." Kazuki is amazed to see that. Miri's friend wishes her good luck, and she goes on stage. She takes the mic and says, "We practiced a lot for field day, and we will do our best. All the teachers and parents, please cheer for us." Kazuki loudly whistles for her. Principal says, "Keep it down, sir." Now, Kazuki and Rei are confused about what game this is when Anna says, "First, we'll start with dancing ball shoot game." Miri starts dancing and other children also dances as the game starts. When whistle blows, she starts throwing the ball into the net. Moms cheer for their kids, saying they look so cute while throwing the ball into the net. Kazuki also cheers loudly for Miri while Rei silently watches. The next game is the teacher-child tug-of-war with Miss Anna on Miri's team. It appears that it's going to be a draw. Anna says, "We have to win." She pulls even harder and they win. Kazuki comments, "Anna is really something," and Rei agrees. Children appreciates Miss Anna, saying, "You are so strong." The third program is the gymnastic formation of Miri's class. Kazuki cheers, "Miri, you rock." while Rei silently watches as they create formations. Even the moms get crazy as their kids look so cute. Suddenly, Kazuki becomes agitated and says he is too close to Miri when he sees her enjoying with Taiga. Rei repeatedly says he dies. Kazuki's attention turns to Rei and he comments, "It's a lot less funny when you say it." Miss Anna announces it's break time, everyone please have their lunch. Seeing so much delicious lunch made by Kazuki, the children get delighted. Moms asks Kazuki, "Papa, you made all this?" He says pretty much. He then says, "There's plenty to go around, help yourselves, girls." When Miri's friend says, "I want some too," Miri says, "Everyone, let's eat together," and her friends happily agree. Rei watches them as everyone enjoys lunch made by Kazuki. He looks at his rice balls and seems down, thinking, maybe I shouldn't ask, they might not like them. Just then Miri turns and says, "Wow, Rei Papa's rice balls, I wanna try." As she takes a bite, she finds choco rings inside it. Her friends get the taste of gummies and strawberry jam inside it. Kazuki is shocked and feels depressed, thinking Rei didn't make good rice balls. But then, Miri says these are so tasty and others also enjoy them. She thanks to Rei and he smiles a bit. As the break ends, Miri says, "I'm getting that gold medal today." Kazuki cheers her up, "You will get the medal, you worked so hard." Miri says, "I am going." Rei wants to cheer but couldn't speak. Anna blows the whistle and the children start running. Parents cheer on their kids. As they reach the finish line, Anna announces, "Okay, next group, get ready." Miri looks nervous as it's her turn. They line up at the starting line. Rei comments, "She's really nervous." Kazuki replies, "She's making me nervous too," and shouts, "Miri, just relax, everything will be alright." The whistle blows and the children start running. Miri tries to run as fast as she can. Kazuki cheers her on saying, "Go, Miri, go, you can do it." Seeing her running nervously, Rei overcomes his shyness and cries out, "Go for it, Miri." Kazuki is amazed to see him cheering for her like this. However, a sudden sound startles her, causing her to stumble and fall during the race. She quickly gets up and continues running toward the finish line. Kazuki and Rei are shocked to see this, and Rei realizes it's his fault. Miri completes her race. Although she received a medal, it's not gold, but just a participation medal. Miri feels sad that she didn't win and goes to her papas, saying, "Sorry, I couldn't get the gold." Kazuki reassures her, "Don't be silly, dear. You did your best." Meanwhile, Taiga shows his gold medal to his parents. Now, Kazuki and Miri try to comfort Rei, who blames himself for Miri's loss. Just then, Miri hears an announcement about parent-child games. She pulls Kazuki's hand saying, "Let's play, Papa. I want to play with both of you." Rei is still sad and says, "You both go." Miri says, "Rei, Papa, watch me this time. I'll get gold medal." She then heads off to play with Kazuki, while Rei thinks cheering is really complicated. All the parents are gathered in one place to play as Miss Anna announces the parent-child race. Rei waves back to Miri as she waves him, saying, "Watch me, Rei, Papa." All the parents and children are ready to run. Miss Anna says, "On your marks, go." The whistle blows and everyone starts running. Rei observes them carefully. Anna mentions that they'll encounter various obstacles along the way. The first obstacle is to eat a treat suspended in mid-air. Miri jumps on Kazuki's back and tries to catch it with her mouth, while Taiga has already managed to get it, frustrating Kazuki. Next is a sack race. Miri and Kazuki run, trying to win, but Taiga and his dad are leading. In an attempt to run faster, Miri and Kazuki trip and fall. Miri says, "Sorry, Papa." Rei gets worried for them. Kazuki encourages her not to give up, and they start running again. The final task is a scavenger hunt. Miss Anna explains that they have to take a card from a box and find the item written on it, then bring it to the finish line. Miri takes out the card from box. She looks at the card, and Kazuki asks her what's written on it. She turns around and starts running, heading in Rei's direction, and grabs his hand. She pulls him, saying, "Come with us, Rei, Papa." Rei is confused but starts running with her. When they reach Kazuki, she shouts, "Run, Papas." Realizing it, both of them grab her hands tightly and start running. One of the moms comments, "Rei, Papa is so fast," while children excitedly watch them. With Rei joining in, their speed increases, leaving everyone else behind. They reach the finish line and win the race. Rei smiles while Miri happily says, "I did it." There's a big smile on Kazuki's face as well. Miri is incredibly happy after receiving the gold medal, and Kazuki appreciates her. She hands card to the Rei when he asks what was written on it, and she smiles. The card read family, signifying that she truly understands the importance of family, which brings tears to Kazuki's eyes. Miri starts laughing and says, "Papa's a grown-up who's crying." Anna suggests, "You guys should take a family photo," and Miri gets excited. Rei says, "Kazuki, but we are assassins." Nevertheless, they take the family photo. At the end of the day, they walk back home, completely exhausted, while Miri is already asleep. Meanwhile, we see Ojino reminding Kyutaro not to forget the job as he looks at family photos of Kazuki, Miri, and Rei. Next day, Miss Anna tells the children that Christmas is coming. Let's prepare a song for the Christmas party at daycare. She starts singing the song with the piano, but she couldn't sing well. Taiga laughs at her along with the other children. Just then, Miri says, I can sing that song, and starts singing. She starts smiling when everyone praises her beautiful voice. Miss Anna says, now let's practice together, everyone. On the way to pick up Miri, Kazuki says, we must decide on a Christmas gift for Miri. As they reach outside the daycare, they see a woman standing there. Rei says, isn't she Miri's mom? Kazuki confirms, yeah, I know Miri's mom, and she looks at them. She introduces herself, I am Anasaka Misaki, and greets them. Kazuki asks, what do you want now? As he recalls meeting Misaki at the bar and having a conversation about Miri. He gets shocked when she says, I've come to take Miri. He says, you threw Miri away and never wanted to see her again. It's too late to take her back. She says, I am her mom, it's my right to live with my daughter. This enrages Kazuki, but Rei stops him, saying, it may create a scene. Just then, Miri sees her mom and runs towards her. Kazuki tries to stop her, but she hugs her mom instead of Kazuki. Miri seems so happy. Misaki says, Miri, I have missed you a lot, while Kazuki loses hope and feels sad. At home, Miri shows her drawing to her mom. Kazuki asks, why did we let this woman into our house? While Miri's mom praises her for her drawing. Rei says, we can't have a serious talk with her at daycare. Miri then takes her mom to show her room. Her mom asks, are all these yours? When Miri shows her the wardrobe full of clothes. Her mom then asks her, are you happy here? And Miri says, yes. Misaki says, then you'd live here with them. Miri hugs her and says, I love you, mama, but I love papas too. She says, sorry I sent you away. Miri then excitedly says, I want to eat your hamburger steak. Later, Miri says, today I'll eat mom's hamburger steak. Eat with us, papas. Kazuki looks at her in shock. Miri's mom says, I am using your kitchen. This enrages Kazuki with jealousy, but Rei says, this is making Miri happy. Misaka starts preparing it, but Kazuki angrily tells Rei she'll mess around in my kitchen. Misaki then serves it, and Miri enjoys eating it. Kazuki angrily says, these are not better than the steak I make. Miri says, Mama, it's so tasty, and Misaka is happy Miri likes it. Rei says, actually, it is good, which enrages Kazuki further. After dinner, Miri tells her mom she will be singing the Silent Night song at the Christmas party, while Kazuki is cleaning the table. Her mother says, remember we used to sing this song together. She says, Mama, sing with me right now. Misaka says, I charge a lot for singing, I am afraid your papas won't be able to pay. Rei looks at her seriously. Miri says, Papa, pay up. Kazuki cry out, hell no. After giving sleeping Miri a blanket, Rei joins Kazuki and Misaka. She takes out a cigarette to smoke, and Kazuki says, no smoking here, kid lives with us. He asks, why do you want Miri back now? Misaki tells that she has throat cancer and can't sing anymore, so she lost her job. Rei asks, you're gonna die, and Kazuki silences him. Kazuki says, I don't care about your sad story, it has nothing to do with Miri, when Misaka says, God is so cruel. After everything I've been through, he throws this on the pile. She then says, I don't have much time to live, forgive my selfishness. I want a fresh start with my daughter. I will go back to my parents' home and take her with me. Kazuki gets sad and says, stop it. She says, please give back my child. Kazuki tries to leave from there and Rei says, Miri is excited about Christmas party, take her after that. While Miri is sleeping happily, Misaka says, I'll rent an apartment nearby to make sure Miri can stay at daycare for a while. I just want to live for Miri now, until I die. Kazuki says, I still don't believe you. Rei says, what Miri wants matters too. She gets up and says, thank you for all you've done to watch over her. She hints that she knows about their assassin careers and threatens to blackmail them. Kazuki and Rei get shocked, wondering how she knows that. Misaka says, as her mother I can't leave her in your care any longer. She then leaves, saying, I will come back, and this time to take Miri. They then go to Kyutaro's cafe and tell him about Miri's mom. Rei says, how did her mom find out where we live and that we are assassins? Kyutaro says, I told her, and tea spurts out of Kazuki's mouth. He then shows them their family picture and Rei says, we didn't take this picture. Rei's eyes fill with anger when Kyutaro says, you are familiar with Ojino, right? He took that. Kazuki asks, is he after Miri? Kyutaro tells them, the organization believes Miri's presence is making their work sloppy. If they don't get rid of her soon, the organization will take action, and it can be worse. That's why he contacted her mom. Rei recalls his father's words, the target betrayed the organization, you better not betray my expectations. And that's why Rei was ordered to finish him, it was punishment for going against the organization. Kazuki says, but you can't just ask us to let Miri go. Kyutaro then says, don't forget you killed her dad, so why do you want to play happy family with her? Miri will eventually know the truth one day and hate you. So, end this now and forget it like a dream. The next morning, as Miri sleeps, Kazuki removes her blanket. She mumbles, there is no daycare today. He says, we are hitting the town. Miri quickly gets up, excited to go. Kazuki bangs the utensils, and Miri jumps to wake Rei. While going out, Kazuki tells Rei, let's have a little family day, so we don't have any regrets. Miri asks, where are we going? And makes a face when Kazuki says, it's a secret, while Rei looks at him. As they reach their destination, Kazuki says, this is our destination. He shows her pictures of inside and she becomes more excited. Rei says, we will have fun, when Miri excitedly jumps and holds Rei's hand, saying, let's go Papa. Kazuki says, let's rock this place, and both agree. They go inside, it's an amusement park. First, they sit on a slide and enjoy it. Next, they try walking on a climbing net. Miri plays another game with Rei, then she enjoys jumping on a trampoline. Kazuki takes a picture of Miri. She then starts bouldering. Kazuki is worried about her as it took a lot of effort for her to climb. He asks, what if she slips? And a man says, don't worry, she has a safety line. Now, Kazuki is scared to climb and Miri says, Kazuki Papa is bad. In Rei's turn, he climbs quickly. Miri says Rei Papa is cool. Afterwards, they take some rest to drink water. Later, Kazuki gets a message from her mom, she'll pick her up at 6. Just then Miri comes out and Kazuki says, let's eat something. On the way, Kazuki tells Rei to buy it when Miri asks for the ice cream. As he goes ahead to save a seat in the restaurant, Miri comes happily with Rei while Kazuki is waiting for them. Miri takes a seat and Kazuki says, you've got a big ice cream. She then says, Rei Papa, open your mouth. As she smiles, Rei can't say no and eats the ice cream. She then offers it to Kazuki, who gets emotional and eats it happily. Miri says, it tastes better when we all eat together, and starts eating. Kazuki asks her for another bite, but she says, no more. He says, there is a lot left, and Miri starts eating quickly. He says, Meanie, Miri, and Miri exclaims, Weenie, Papa. Rei corrects, he said Meanie not Weenie, and Kazuki laughs. After finishing, she says, it was good. Kazuki takes her and cleans her face. Her attention turns to a boy who shares his food with his mom. She says, I wish Mama could have eaten with us. He then looks at a boy who is happy with his mom and says, yes, Miri, you are right. He hugs her with teary eyes while Rei watches him silently. Miri says, it tickles. He then lets her down, and she says, I want to play video games, and runs off. As she happily waves at them from afar, Kazuki asks, do you think we took away Miri's mom's happiness? Rei says, I don't know. He gets up and says, let's have fun today. They then play Mario Kart, and Rei wins. Miri praises him, and Kazuki buys toys for her, saying, you can have as much as you want. Miri happily thanks him. Now she says, I want to wear this dress to the Christmas party, and they agree it will look good on her. At the end, they reach near the Ferris wheel, and Miri says, it's so big. Kazuki says, let's go for a ride. Miri asks, is it scary? And Rei replies, no. They look outside from the Ferris wheel, and as Miri is amazed by the outside view, Kazuki sadly tells Rei, I am not prepared for all this. Rei says, we've gotten too attached to her, and he gets upset. Kazuki says, I want Miri to live happily, a normal life with her mother, not a dangerous life with assassins. Rei gets emotional. Just then, Miri says, we've reached the top. Come, look, Papa, and they all get closer to the window to look outside from the top. Rei says, it's really pretty. As they start going down, Rei says, thanks to you, Miri, I have seen things I'd never seen before. Kazuki says, we got far more than our share. Just then, the Ferris wheel stops. Afterward, they head back home. Miri sees her mom, and Kazuki says, this is the surprise present from your papas. She gets happy when he says, a sleepover for just you and Mama. She runs towards her mom. They get sad as they see Miri going away forever. Kazuki calls Miri and goes to cover her with his blanket to keep her from catching a cold. She then says, bye papas, see you tomorrow, and walks away. Kazuki and Rei sadly watch her because she will never come back. In the next scene, we see Rei playing a video game. Kazuki approaches and asks, don't you want to sleep? He replies, I'll sleep in the morning. Kazuki says, but it's already morning. So he heads toward his room, saying, good night. He struggles to sleep as he can't stop thinking about Miri. He notices Miri's toy nearby when he tries to doze off. Meanwhile, Kazuki enters Miri's room. He takes her drawing pad and starts looking at the drawings she made. Then, he discovers what Miri had made for them on Father's Day and remembers when she said, thank you for everything, papas. Tears well up in his eyes. While Rei is sleeping, he keeps Miri's toy close to him. Later, they look upset as they have to eat without Miri. Afterwards, Kazuki heads for shopping. He unconsciously buys Miri's favorite cornflakes and soon realizes it. At home, he eats Miri's favorite cornflakes with Rei. Kazuki then goes to park where he used to take Miri. Just then, a girl passing by there catches his attention. People nearby begin to suspect him as he's been sitting there all day. When he hears them, he feels like as if he's a child kidnapper. At night, they eat ramen since it's no need to cook healthy meals without Miri, and watches her favorite cartoon because they miss her dearly. Afterwards, Rei goes out and tries to light his cigarette. Kazuki says, I haven't seen you smoke in a while. Rei replies, "You're the one who told me not to smoke around Miri." He says, "It's really quiet here without Miri except for the sound of your games." Rei responds, "You're messing up your cooking too." He angrily says, "Order in if you don't like my cooking." Rei expresses concern, "I hope Miri's eating right." Kazuki reassures him, "I'm sure her mom is taking care of her." Rei then says, "I'm going back to my dad's place as he asked to come back." Kazuki agrees, as there is not much reason to stay together now. Rei says, "You can have this apartment." He declines, "I'll find a smaller place. This apartment is too big for a lonely man like me and feels sad." Rei then gives him his lighter and leaves, to which Kazuki comments, "So, this is your parting gift." Meanwhile, Miri seems delighted to eat the hamburger steak her mom made for her, since it's her favorite. However, when she tastes it, she says, "Mom, this doesn't taste like the one you always make." Her mom responds, "This is better than those cheap ones. I worked hard to make it for you," and shows her injured finger to Miri. She simply eats it and says, "Mama, I like this one too." In the next scene, Kazuki asks Kyutaro if there is any work for him, but he's drunk and depressed. Kyutaro refuses to give him work until his condition gets better. He gives him some money, saying, "Use them until then." Kazuki says, "I left for Karin, but she didn't take any, so give it all back now." Kyutaro says, "You'll spend it if I give it all at once." Kazuki says, "You're not my mom." Kyutaro then says, "Miri meant more to you than I thought." He then asks him about Rei, and Kazuki says, he left early this morning as his dad asked him to come back. Kyutaro replies, he has no other choice but to go back. Meanwhile, Rei is standing in front of his dad, who asks, "So you finally decided to come back?" Rei responds, "Yes, boss." His father welcomes him and says, "You will now learn our family business and lead the organization. I give you my place." Now, we see Miri practicing a song for the Christmas party celebration, while her mom listens to her. She then claps and says, "You're very good, Miri," when she finishes the song and smiles. Miri hugs her mom and says, "Everyone praises my singing at daycare too." As her mom begins tidying her clothes in the drawer, Miri wonders, "When will Rei and Kazuki Papa come to get me?" Her mom responds, "Those men are not your papa." She says, "No, they are my papas. Kazuki Papa cooks well and Rei Papa is good at games. I wish we could all live together." Her mother hugs her and says, "I am sorry I made you feel lonely. I will try to be a mother you love." Miri says, "I do love you, Mama." Back to Rei, his dad says, "Before you learn the business, there's something that needs to be done." He believes that Rei still has too many attachments. He shows Rei a picture of him with Miri and Kazuki, telling him that Rei should cut ties with them. But he acknowledges that it might be difficult for Rei, so he will get rid of them for him. While Miri sleeps soundly beside her mom, Rei begs his father, "Please don't hurt Miri. I'll do anything you ask, just spare her." His father says, "I've already sent an assassin to take care of Miri and Kazuki." Rei rushes out and calls Kazuki, explaining the situation. Kazuki runs to save Miri while telling everything to Kyutaro in a call. Meanwhile, her mother leaves the room after Miri sleeps. Just then, Misaka's phone starts ringing, and someone is coming up the stairs. She considers answering the call, but the doorbell rings, so she heads to the door to open it first. She asks, "Who is it?" And a man says, "Package delivery." But as she opens the door, he shoots her and enters. It's Ojino, who's there to finish Miri. Misaka falls to the ground, and he grabs her by her hair, asking her where is Miri. She manages to break free and tries to reach Miri, but her injuries prevent her from moving further. Ojino asks her to tell her last words before dying. Just then, Kazuki arrives and attempts to shoot, but Ojino stops him and throws him aside. Ojino tries to shoot him, but he throws a bag at him. He then spots Miri's mom, who is about to die, and attempts to shoot Ojino, but Ojino stops him by trying to strangle him. He tells Kazuki, "You are my target too," and shoots him in the shoulder. Meanwhile, Miri sleeps peacefully in her bed. Kazuki collapses to the ground, and Ojino says, "Wait for your turn. First, I'll write down that woman's last words." Kazuki says, "I'm calling the cops," but Ojino responds, "I'll finish all this before they arrive." Kazuki asserts, "No, it's over for you now." Confused Ojino asks, "What do you expect to accomplish?" Kazuki replies, "I'm just the brains of the operation." He then cries out, "Now, Rei." Ojino turns to defend against Rei, thinking he will attack. But Kazuki tricks him. Taking advantage of this, Kazuki is ready to attack, but in the next moment, we see that he failed, and Ojino has completely stopped him. Just as he's about to kill Kazuki, he hears police sirens. He kicks Kazuki's face. He goes closer to the window and jumps out to escape. Kazuki holds Miri's mom, saying, "Wake up, don't die here." Kyutaro comes, who initiated the fake siren, says, "The real police will arrive soon." Mikasa points towards a room, saying, "Miri is there." While Kazuki is still in shock because Mikasa will die soon, Kyutaro goes towards the room, urging him to hurry. Miri is still sleeping. Mikasa says to Kazuki, please protect Miri, tell her that I'm sorry I couldn't make it to her Christmas party, and tears flow from her eyes. Kazuki says, you can't leave her like this, she needs a family. Kyutaro comes out with Miri and says, let's go, Kazuki. He takes Miri closer to her dying mom, and more tears flow from her eyes as she touches her daughter for the last time. She says, sorry Miri, I was just a selfish mom, and passes away with teary eyes. Just then, they hear police sirens and leave from there. Kazuki puts the dressing on his injured part, while Miri is still sleeping. Kyutaro takes them to a safe place and informs Kazuki that he had already told Rei about their location. Just as Rei arrives and sees Miri sleeping soundly, he feels relieved that she's alive. Kyutaro then apologizes for separating Miri from them and giving her to Mikasa because he thought it would keep her safe from the boss who was investigating Rei's life. But he was wrong and blames himself. Just then, Miri murmurs in her sleep, knowing she'll be hungry when she wakes up. Kyutaro goes to get food. Rei asks Kazuki about their next move. Recalling her mom's word to protect Miri, Kazuki suggests erasing every trace of Miri so they can put her in an orphanage and stay out of her life forever. However, Rei wants to stay with her, despite feeling like a breathing statue who has never done anything in his life except run away from his father's reality. He recalls the warmth of holding hands and pleasant places walking with Kazuki and Miri. He wants to live that life again. Kazuki initially argues that they cannot be a part of Miri's life anymore, but Rei insists that they have to protect her and come up with a plan to help her. Just then, Kazuki recalls his memories of his wife, and his memories with Miri. He was so happy with Miri and recalls his sister-in-law's words, that she knows he can make Miri happy too. He changes his mind about leaving Miri. When Miri wakes up, she asks where her mother is. Kazuki holds her in his arms and lies that her mom had something to do and will be back soon. And Miri falls asleep in his arms again. He then tells Rei that they will divide the household chores and childcare responsibilities more equally this time. After putting Miri back to sleep, they go to Kyutaro, telling him they plan to quit their assassin jobs and focus on being fathers to Miri. Next morning, Miri jumps on Rei to wake him and starts laughing. After that, they get ready to make breakfast. Miri starts helping with breakfast, and as they're cooking, she says, it smells good. When breakfast is ready, it looks really yummy. Kazuki tastes it, and Miri asks, is it good? Kazuki says, you pass, and Miri happily high-fives Rei. Later, as Miri gets ready for nursery, she struggles with her tight shoes. She's grown a bit. Heading out, Rei says, it's been a year since we adopted Miri. It's snowing outside. Miri runs and says, I want to play. She then shows them Santa Claus drawing she made. Kazuki asks Miri, what present do you want for Christmas? Miri replies, Mama already told Santa what I want. They then head to nursery to drop Miri. Today is the Christmas party at daycare. As they reach, Miri excitedly runs to see the Santa. Nisana comes out and asks if her mother will be joining them for the Christmas program. Miri also asks, is Mama coming? Instead of telling Miri the truth about her mother's death, Kazuki says that Misaki will be unable to attend because she's on an important trip. Rei says that they both will attend the Christmas party after their important job is done. Miri says, make a pinky promise that you'll come, and Rei promises her. Miri's friend calls her. She runs towards them, saying, bye, papas. Miss Anna tells them that Miri practiced hard for tonight and hopes they will attend the party. They both nod and say yes, we will. They then go to meet Kyutaro, who is waiting for them. Kyutaro takes out a bag of weapon and hands it to Rei. Before leaving, he warns, don't be late for Miri's party. And Kazuki replies, we won't make it back alive. He angrily throws a bag at Kazuki's face and leaves. They are heading to speak with Rei's father to peacefully leave the organization. Rei looks at the Santa dress Kyutaro gifted them to wear at Miri's party and asks Kazuki, do you believe in Santa Claus? Kazuki responds, I was separated from my parents at a young age. How can I believe in Santa when I never received a gift? Rei agrees and says that while they may not believe, Miri does, and it's their job as parents to keep her dreams alive. I'll play Santa. Kazuki says, no worries, Kyutaro gave us 2 costumes. We can both play Santa for her. They have reached outside the organization. Rei says, I want to talk to the boss. Guards start checking them and take away all their weapons. Kazuki is stopped by the guard, while Rei is allowed to enter inside the gate. Rei says, let him in, he's my partner. But his father's henchmen surround him with guns citing the boss's orders. Kazuki says, do you think you've taken all our weapons? This man standing here is a living weapon. Just then Rei attacks one of the men and throws him onto another. Kazuki attacks the third henchman from behind, while Rei takes the gun and shoots the last henchman. Kazuki runs to the cars and drives, calling for Rei to come inside. The henchmen inside the organization start running as soon as they receive their orders to take down Rei and Kazuki. Ajino says, so they are here, time to kill. They head towards the organization. As Rei gets ready with his weapon, suddenly henchmen start firing, breaking the windows of their car. They don't stop, and Rei starts firing back at them. Kazuki keeps driving and says, let's make it flashy. He then takes a shortcut to reach the organization. The car starts malfunctioning, and smoke begins to come out. It crashes into the organization building with a lot of smoke. Rei comes out and spots Ajino, who was observing them. Kazuki steps out coughing due to the smoke. Rei tells Kazuki, let's go, and as they run to open the door, but firing starts from inside. Rei says, there are 8 enemies in total, I'll take down 6. They throw a gas bomb that explodes, creating smoke. Henchmen start shooting as Rei and Kazuki enter through the smoke, and kills them. They split up, and Kazuki takes down 2 henchmen as planned. Rei runs upward, throwing a gas bomb and taking down the others. Kazuki then runs up the same stairs Rei took, but is shocked when Ajino appears in front of him from the smoke. He tries to shoot, but Ajino attacks him and throws him to the ground. He is about to kill Kazuki and says, tell me your last words. Meanwhile, Miss Anna comes to Miri and appreciated her craft work. Miri says, I will show them to my papas. Anna says, hope they finish their work soon and join the party. Miri replies, we made Pinky swear. Back to Kazuki, Ajino is about to shoot him but Rei arrives just in time to save him, and Ajino start fighting with Rei. They engage in a fierce firefight, exchanging shots. While doing so, Rei gets shot by Ajino. Kazuki saw him and run towards Rei. He take him to the side. Rei is alive because he was wearing a bulletproof vest. Just then, Ajino approaches to shoot again. Kazuki, distracting him, mockingly says, I'll tell you my last words, pissing Ajino off. Kazuki tries to shoot while running, but Ajino shoots back, making Kazuki drop his weapon. He continues to run, and Ajino follows him. Ajino shoots again, and he enters a door. Inside, Kazuki starts throwing things at him, but he stops them by shooting and shoots Kazuki in the leg. As he approaches Kazuki to finish him off, he asks for Kazuki's last words to write in his diary. Just as he takes out his diary, Kazuki grabs a cylinder and says, I'll take you with me. Rei enters, attempting to attack Ajino, but he quickly punches him. Ajino kicks him, and just as he's about to shoot, Rei kicks away his weapon. They engage in a fight, with Ajino gripping Rei's neck to choke him. Suddenly, Kazuki stabs Ajino in the back, while Rei headbutts him, driving the knife through his neck as he falls on his back. Rei extends his hand asking, are you able to stand? He gets up with his support, and they leave from there. Ajino tries to reach for his diary, and we see a lighter come flying. He wants to write his last words on the diary, but the lighter ignites the cylinder, setting him on fire. After bandaging Kazuki's injured leg, Rei insists on facing his father alone and instructs Kazuki to find an escape vehicle. Meanwhile, Miri is getting ready for the Christmas party along with other classmates. Rei enters his father's room and approaches him, saying, Boss, I am leaving the organization. His father responds, I won't permit this, the organization is your fate. Rei again says I am leaving, and his father grabs his weapon to shoot but ends up getting shot by Rei. His dad says, kill me Rei, but after that the organization will not leave you. Rei responds, I just want to live with my real family peacefully. You taught me how to survive, and I am thankful to you. But living away from you has taught me so many things. He begins to recount every moment he spent with Kazuki and Miri, emphasizing that those were the dearest moments of his life. Assassin job gave him nothing like that. His father says, no matter how you struggle, you can't escape Suwa blood. Rei confidently replies, I can. Because with Kazuki and Miri, I share a bond stronger than blood. To ensure he can never be an assassin again, Rei intentionally shoots himself in the shoulder. He then walks away from there. His father almost shoots Rei in the back, but ultimately allows him to go. Outside, Kazuki is waiting and, upon seeing Rei, he asks about injured arm. Rei says I did it myself. They then leave from there. In daycare, Miri's class is about to sing at Christmas program. They start singing with Miss Anna playing the piano. Miri searches for Rei and Kazuki in the audience. Just then, she sees her papas entering inside. They watch her, concealing their injuries under Santa costumes. She smiles because her papas kept their promise to come. Afterwards, she runs and hugs Kazuki, and Rei praises her singing. Miri happily says, thanks for coming, Papa. Miss Anna approaches them as she notices their matching outfits and takes a family photo. From here, the story flashes forward to teenage Miri on her first day of high school. 10 years have passed. Kazuki and Rei are now running a diner together. Rei serves her breakfast, and as she eats she smiles and says, it's tasty, Rei Papa. Miri then remembers something. She runs and stands near the door, saying, come here papas. She takes them out for a photo and then takes a selfie. They all look so happy together. The story ends by showcasing a series of pictures that capture the moments from their lives together over the past decade. Now, don't forget to comment on the funniest scene in the story. I'll be reading your comments, and if we can reach 5,000 likes, I'll bring you another cool story like this.